Chris and Jeff back again. Baseball cards, they're only friends. Super short prints they collect. The rarest of cards, yeah, respect. Blabbing about slabbing. Every Thursday's a spot. Blabbing about slabbing. SSP cards that we've got. Tune in now, don't be late. Baseball cards, it's worth the wait. Chris and Jeff, they got the scoop. On the cards with the best clues.
All right, it's another Thursday night. Do not adjust your television sets. Chris is on location somewhere in Braves country. It's just me and Jake here tonight. What's going on, Jake?
Oh, not much. Just coming to you live from my beautiful backyard where my wife has created this nice little backdrop for me.
Looks
So I
like we
figured
might
I
get
would
a
take advantage of this
California
beautiful
sunset.
That's right. That's right. You know,
Awesome.
I think we take it for granted that we get a beautiful day every day.
Yes, we do take it for granted. I'm glad you're outside. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Baseball card Brett. Chris looks different. Is that a new haircut?
Yeah. He's got a lot more hair than I do, to be honest with you.
Chris is in Atlanta. He's going to go see some Braves games.
Are they playing right now, right? So what time is it? It's like 9 o'clock. Is the game over?
Yeah, they've had a doubleheader today.
Ooh. Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that comment that was up. We first need to check in on Gigi's cards.
Yeah, I saw that he left the game early. I did not know. Okay, they're up 8-0 in the nightcap in Philly. Yeah, so I think they're back for a weekend series. Jeff, is that right? Yeah.
Oh, they're in
a couple games.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. 8-0 Braves. Wow. Alex Verdugo just must be really putting the team on his back.
Yeah, gotta be.
He's the star of that team.
I think Sale was starting the late game too, which is good.
I hope he went. He actually went to the game, right?
No, Chris.
Oh
no, they're coming back to Atlanta.
Oh, I see.
Braves are coming back, so he's there.
Okay, I got you. Oh, sorry.
There's Chris. Welcome in. If you have an internet signal, you can hop on.
Yeah, Gigi's car is not doing well.
News. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Chris Sale 2,500K tonight. That's impressive.
Getting closer to his Hall of Fame stamp.
Yeah, seriously. I think that if he does get to that 3K, boy, that would be awesome to see.
Yeah.
I mean, he deserves it. Guy's been hurt so much.
We're going to try to get trivia in tonight. Even though Chris isn't here to handle it, we're going to try to get trivia. And Jake came up with a great prize here. Brewers prospect, Jesus Made, first Bowman. Now, if you want to feel really old, you just look at the back and see when his birthday is. He was born in 2007.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That is... Yeah, you know, so when Chris, Jeff, and I got together to open those Stadium Club Chrome boxes, I decided to do a little pregame, and I bought a blaster at my local Best Buy. I had to go to Best Buy for something, and it's like, all right, I'll buy a blaster to open when I first get to Chris's, and lo and behold, the best card in that blaster box, good old Jesus Made or Jesus Made, whatever one suits your fancy.
Great name. Hot prospect for the Brewers. Brewers have 2 walk-offs in a row. Pretty exciting.
Man, Christian Yelich, how about that? I love seeing Christian Yelich play well. I think it's nothing more exciting for baseball to see him doing well.
Well, you do have to know what really happened. So Chris has been texting me incessantly about how bad Yelich has played for his fantasy team. Then when he hit
Let's
that
do
home
it.
run,
Yeah,
I
let's
texted
do
him
it.
and I said, Yelich, how about it? And he said, it's the first day all year that he was on his bench.
That's
that's
the
what
most.
happened.
Honestly, if I had a nickel
Him on
for
the
every
bench.
time I've heard Chris say the day that he benched somebody is the day that they performed really well, I'd be a very rich man. Or the day that he activated them.
Yeah. Thanks for the trivia note. I am resetting it. So give me a second here. And I think it should be the same link. There we go.
So speaking of ball games, the Yankees were in town. I was lucky enough to go see. It's very difficult to get to Anaheim, and I refused to go to Dodger Stadium. I just cursed them, especially because the tickets are like outrageously expensive.
It's a great place to see a ball game, though.
I bet it is. Maybe one day when I'm old and retired.
We'll drag you there for a Yankees game.
Yeah. I think the most expensive tickets at the Angels game were like the cheapest the cheapest. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, Dodger Stadium. The nosebleeds are like $350. It's outrageous. It's just a robbery.
Yeah.
So I was telling Jeff before we came on the stream about my little mishap at Angel Stadium. And so I got there naturally as I do as a baseball nerd. I got there when the gates opened, and I wanted to watch. We were able to catch a few rounds of BP, including Aaron Judge. But I was posted up in right field, and Jason Dominguez, taking BP from the left side, came up and hit one right on the screws, right at me. And
did you bring your glove?
I brought my glove. Of course, I had my glove.
Great.
And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is my chance. The ball hits just before me, and it bounces up into the seats, and I dive. I risked my life for this batting practice ball, and I hit my head so hard, I was seeing 3 Jason Dominguez's.
And if you guys have never met Jake in person, he's a large man.
Yeah. When a big man fall hard, right?
Not only was he taking his own life into his hands, but anybody who happened to be in the way of this dive, their life was definitely in your hands.
And so I think I broke a rib maybe, and then also a concussion, but it was worth it, even though I did not get the ball. So
didn't even get the ball.
I didn't even get the ball. It's the most disappointed I've ever been in my life. And not to mention, I was had such a cranking headache the rest of the game. I was like, I can't even. I mean, I still did manage to enjoy the game, but it was just stuck on my mind the whole time. But it was fun. It was a beautiful, beautiful night, and that stadium is beautiful. And it's unfortunate I don't get to see Mike Trout play, but
yeah, it's a great stadium, beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. Good food, and it's a good time. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you survived. I'm glad you didn't have a late concussion syndrome or something like that.
Yes. I mean, I still might. I mean, look, you would never know because I'm pretty simple-minded to begin with. So it could have.
You want to show your war wound?
No, not really.
All right. Well, right before we were on, he showed me.
Yeah,
he's like definitely a broken rib there, all black and blue.
Yeah. So I'll save the people wanting to spit out their dinner. So.
Well, I'm glad you lived to tell the tale for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you can join us here to talk a little bit about baseball cards, and Aaron Judge cards, of course.
Yeah, of course. As the only things I truly do like to talk about in life, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah. Hey, Plumberman says if he says he likes Norm Macdonald, we know.
Boy, the Norm Macdonald comments. You're
never going to live that one down, I guess.
I also assumed I'd come on here and get a lot of gold minted hate, which I'm prepared for, because I did make a pretty outlandish post/statement that went against a lot of people in the community's, I guess, guidelines.
Why you want to go over what that was?
Yeah. So I posted that I think pearl refractors, the white pearl refractors, are better looking cards than the gold minteds, and it caused quite a stir. And I'm not a pot stirrer, but this one certainly stirred the pot. But I am a absolute believer that it is the truth. And, I think that this card right here,
what do you got?
Is especially, it's difficult to see, but
yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
It is nonetheless a beautiful looking card.
And for the pearl, is it just like you just see a little bit on the bottom?
No, this one is fully, it's got a dimmed, like kind of a whitish background, I guess. And it's just it's like a better refractor almost. And it really highlights the what's in frame. So in that instance, it's Aaron Judge. This was the card I actually posted. So they've changed them a little bit throughout the years.
Right.
It's
been about 3 years.
I think 2021 is the first year that they did it. Right. Unfortunately, they did not do it in 2020. That would be a grail card for me if they did. So this one's so they've kind of adjusted them. They're all numbered to 30, which for some reason appeals to me. Just a random like numbering system that I don't know, I like.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what appeals to me. But they're also just really beautiful looking cards in hand. I think everybody says that about the gold minted as well. But
you're getting a lot of positive support from the chat though. They're agreeing with you.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. White polish. It is. And yeah, in the Field of Dreams card is especially really cool. This is actually the first copy of this card I've owned in any form, which is, I think even Chris owns an iteration of this card of some sort. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's also an interesting thing to note that these pearl refractors only come out of Stadium Club. They don't come out of Stadium Club Chrome. So they come out just like the gold minteds do.
Right.
They only come out of the Stadium Club product and not the Chrome product. Now that we don't have Chrome.
Rest in peace, Stadium Club Chrome. Sadly, we don't have that anymore.
Right. Judge's Marla Hooch card. I don't get that. I don't know what that reference is, but
you have the gold. Sounds like everybody is talking about the image.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a couple of really cool Field of Dreams cards. He's got a great veneer shot in 2022 for his SP. He's walking out of it's a short print for Aaron Judge. It's an SSP for Garrett Cole. And they're wearing the jerseys that are now the current away jerseys. So, Verdugo.
Doc says, why do I always end up opening up an eBay tab when I'm watching this show? I'm telling you, Jake, and I've been telling Chris, we got to get that affiliate link so we can get some credit for all the good buys you guys make when you're watching.
Yeah. I'm not sure. My neighbor just turned on her thing. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear it?
What is it, a waterfall?
My neighbor just turned on her leaf blower. Should be going off soon.
Oh, that's okay. We can still hear you.
Okay. That's good. Regardless of such, I actually deleted so eBay had like this update. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but when you went to your ended listings and you clicked on the listing, it wasn't telling you whether it sold or whether it had just ended. I think they actually fixed it, but for like 3 days, you didn't know if like an item, a buy it now item, for instance. I mean, you could go to 130 point, type it in, but you couldn't just tell if an item had sold. So I deleted the eBay app, and when you just I deleted the eBay app thinking that maybe it would fix it, but I just kept clicking on that spot on my phone. I just kept that where the eBay logo or where the eBay icon is,
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. I'm helplessly addicted.
So do you have it on the phone now or not?
I re-downloaded it after 2 hours of clicking where it was located on my phone.
Oh, after 2 hours.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, Wills, I saw this. It's at 2.7 million now.
I think it's at 3.1 with buyer's premium.
Yes, I heard it was over 3, but it was probably with the BP. And aren't there like 6 days left on it or something?
No, there's like 24 days left.
Oh man, yeah,
it's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those really cool vintage auctions have done that. Like for some reason, people just bid out of the gate. Like the Ruth jersey, the called shot jersey.
Yeah.
It didn't really move much in the last week.
It was just at the beginning. Yeah. Nice Forbidden Donut. Picked up the Otani
That's
SSB.
great. Yeah,
Probably had to overpay, but I don't know if it's overpaying if people would be willing to pay it.
he was mentioning it was between that, or I forget the other card that he was considering, but it was a modern. It wasn't any of his rookie cards, but that is. I was like, that card is awesome. That is a badass card.
Definitely, we've talked about that a lot. A question from the chat, Jake: are you bidding on that Wagner PSA 1?
How did you know? I'm using this house that I rent as collateral.
Maybe you could, work out some sort of trade.
I would still only be about halfway there.
Yeah, for as of now, right?
Yeah,
where it ends, who knows? What's up, Chasing Majors? Thanks for joining us. Wills thinks he's putting on his conspiracy theory hat a little bit. Think the sites are bidding it up to create a floor or generate interest.
Yeah,
I mean I would not put anything past what's going on in this hobby for sure.
Yeah, it certainly could be. There's no transparency, but I guess how could you have transparency when, I wouldn't want my information. Although, I think the Paul Skeens card, it was pretty cool to see that Dick's Sporting Goods came out and we're like, we bought it, and now they have it in display, that the rookie debut patch.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate when these things get bought and we don't know where they go, because you kind of like to, see.
Yeah, that's true. That's nice. We know that one was bought and paid for, and it's on display. They built a whole big display around it, and they're moving heavily into the trading card space, it sounds like. Made a pretty big partnership with Fanatics, maybe.
Oh, really? I mean, I know that I went to a Dick's Sporting Goods recently because they don't really have any of them near. They only have really like Big Five around us.
Yeah.
But I went to one when I was home, and it had a whole wall of cards from basketball boxes, sealed wax. I was like, whoa, even hobby boxes. I was like, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as more of those big retailers are getting into it, because with allocation, we'll see what happens. Somebody's going to get squeezed out.
Yeah,
probably the smaller shops.
More product printed, which is unfortunate.
That could be too. Yes, we know that that's definitely a way of them dealing with it.
Yeah.
Justin brings up another big news item that Walmart is setting up live breaks of some sort. Yeah, they've got a football break on what's called Walmart Live, which I didn't even know existed. So we've got Walmart
New York
Live.
Giants and toilet paper at the same time. That's excellent. Are they going to?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I'm not surprised that Dick's would probably be right behind.
Yeah. I mean, who's
Locker?
It's funny. Our good friend Homer Dome Cards has purchased cards off of like Poshmark before. They don't have like live breaks, but he's purchased literally short printed like SPs from like Poshmark. I've purchased a card from Amazon. And I think because they allow obviously third-party sellers on their site, I think that Walmart does the same, but it's interesting to see that Walmart itself is actually getting in the trading card space.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, even though they're printing a lot of these products to the moon, there's still some products that they're not printing enough of for the average everyday collector to be able to get any, and they're on the bottom of the allocation totem pole.
Yeah, or the ability to buy a product that has anything worthwhile in it, right? It's like, it's funny to see Topps Instagram continuously posting blaster box hits from random targets and things like that. And it's like, okay, we get it. We get what you're trying to do. Like they just posted.
I've noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah. They just posted that Otani Heritage Superfractor from a $3 pack. And it's like, come on.
It's like winning the lottery. The odds are so long, but somebody does win in that case, and Topps wants to promote the heck out of it, so more people will go and buy those products.
Yeah. It's funny.
Scotty, I do not know the answer to this. We just did an episode about this on Spitballing Cards. It's just really disappointing. It's really disappointing.
Breaks is back. They didn't. I thought they were.
Wow, Jake didn't even hear about this. All right, I guess we got to fill him in. So
I try and stay away from all breaker news anytime.
PSA invited Backyard Breaks to do a break at their headquarters, which they did, and it's Grant, the same guy, who made the creepy remark at PSA, and so we were kind of speculating on spitballing as to, I mean, there's just it seems like such a bad look for PSA. I don't know if they had some prearranged agreement to do this, because I know they've had them there before, and maybe the payout would be too huge. But the silence from PSA on the on that front has been deafening.
That is not a good look at all.
No, and Evan's right, and ATL Jeff Black is right. It's tough when you have a company that has such a near monopoly on a product or a service. In this case, yeah.
You know, I was talking to my wife today about various grading companies, and you know, she said, "Well, why haven't you graded cards with this company yet?" And it's like, well, you know, PSA unfortunately just still holds that top resale dollar. You know, they just hold that premium, and we're kind of, you know, at their beck and call a little bit in that sense.
Yeah, and it's really disappointing, and I don't know if there's anything to be done with it, unless as a hobby everybody decides to stop sending cards to PSA, which
I don't see it happening anytime. You know, it's like, but we've also, you know, talked about the idea, and like, I don't send a lot of these cards to PSA intending to resell them. I just, you know, one day when maybe I do want to have some retirement money or something like that, obviously, but like, who knows what's going to be in the future. But I think we've talked a lot about sending our PC cards to SGC just because of just how much better of a product like it is in general, in terms of turnaround times, in terms of, you know, again, I don't think they have a set registry, but they have.
But at the end of the day, though, that's still PSA. That's still collectors on SGC now. So you're still putting money in their pockets. Phil, thanks for checking in. Whatnot pushes up Backyard Breaks channels in the algo, so new people to the hobby and Whatnot will see them first and often won't see other channels. All right, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Just like, man, how did they? That's like Diddy all of a sudden coming back and being popular again. Like, like this is
just out of sight, out of mind. And yes, we had some defenders of Grant saying that he stepped away from the hobby to get himself together, and now he's back. I don't know. I just it's a tough situation. Thanks, Holmes, for watching the Spitballin'. And yes, we love talking about the Hall of Fame discussion. We got some flack in the comments for our discussion on Pete Rose. For those of you who haven't watched it, in that same episode, I brought up 5 players and wanted to know if the other guys thought they'd be in the Hall of Fame within 20 years. We got some varied comments on that.
Yeah, that's always fun to. You guys are very good at responding to comments too, which is kudos to you. But it definitely
they're not always pleasant. They're not.
Always... it opens up some interesting dialogue for sure.
Yeah.
I think one time I remember, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or so, I came on here when somebody was like, "Do you think Soto is going to sign with the Mets?" And I was like, "Who the heck wants to live in Queens? Like, who the heck wants to play in Queens?" And somebody commented, got really mad at that. It's like, okay, you're right. Honestly, I'm sorry about that, because I
getting
guess
a little personal there.
Yeah, right? I guess you know what, it ended up coming to fruition. I probably deserved that, I guess. But
Michael wants to talk about CGC, best looking slab, price, and consistent grading.
I agree with the slab quality is just tremendous.
For sure, the slab quality. I'm not too sure about the consistent grading with what I've seen, but price, they're definitely there too. And turnaround time's got to be way better than SGC and PSA right now.
I have graded one thing with CGC or their counterpart. I'll go get it and show it later, but it was a magazine, and it took 3 months. And I'm not sure if it's the same turnaround time for trading cards, but it's really cool. I like their product a lot, but again, I think there were super limited features in terms of, I think in order to submit to CGC, you have to be a vendor of theirs of some sort. Like, I guess maybe for magazines or comics or something like that. But I think if there's
I don't know too much about them. I've heard this complaint chasing majors as well, that the flip itself can look a little cheesy. They're definitely clear slabs. There's no doubt about that.
Clear. And it kind of baffles me as to why PSA has not they're very, they're pretty thick, brittle, heavy. Like they're heavy. They're overall great slabs. I'd say they're my favorite in terms of out of all of them.
James, too many companies. And they just keep going, and that's a good hint for what might be in our trivia tonight. So if you're already watching, keep that in mind. We'll try to put the link in there again. Please get in on trivia. We're going to try to do it at 7:00. 28 Relic said my card savers are pretty clear. Yeah, and I think somebody else, maybe it was Royale earlier, talked about just keeping more cards raw and one touches. And Chris and I are starting to do that as well. That was what we talked about last week on Blabbin. We showed some of our favorite cards that we're keeping in one touches. And I don't know, just things like these decisions by PSA make me more likely to do that.
Yeah. Again, if they're PC cards, it's like, what's the rush or I think for me, personally, it's a kind of a security measure.
Okay.
And it's also like knowing, because they're fairly like, tamper proof per se. I've accidentally opened, one touches. I've dropped one touches before and cards have popped out and things like that. And I also have this OCD where I like everything to be uniform. But I completely agree with you. I mean, these are just a whole bunch of cards. I don't know if I'm ever going to submit, but just cards I certainly like to keep and look at raw that are really not. Oh, nice. Trout's back tomorrow.
Yeah, Thorson, if this is true, I'm very excited about that. We just need him back. Just come back and stay healthy. Let's see what he can do. Speaking of health, Wills points out Harper getting hit. Yeah, Strider nailed him right in the elbow.
Strider's respond. He's a weird dude.
No, what happened?
He was like, the reporter asked him, and he's like, I'm not that much of a psychopath. And I was like,
you mean about asking if he hit him on purpose?
Yeah, he's just a strange guy. He's like, Strider is he's a little out there.
All right. Well, I hope Harper's not. I haven't heard the latest on Harper. Hopefully he's not too badly damaged. But yeah, I can imagine that.
Negative, so I think it's just
all right. Thick Boy, if you ran one of the smaller grading companies or Beckett, how would you try and compete to knock down PSA? PSA has a true stranglehold. Yeah, you almost wonder if it's too late. We've been hoping that Beckett would bounce back. They went through ownership changes, and we thought they were going to try to make a move because for so long they were right there with PSA as a clear number 2 and even number 1 for parts of the
number 1 for a while, right? Like probably mid 2000s to late 2000s.
And especially with Bowman First, they were the go-to company to grade your Bowman First autos.
Interesting. I mean, they still are a very useful company in terms of, I guess I don't know how much people trust their grading anymore, but having the 4 subgrades in kind of, BGS 9.5, it's that gold, plate still holds a lot of value to a lot of collectors.
Yeah.
So I still think that they do. I also just, where PSA kind of scaled and adapted to the times, BGS just simply did not.
Yeah, exactly. They have terrible user interface, the lack of any sort of registry. Yeah, it was just not good.
It's how a company that kind of like the Art Marino or of ownership there for BGS.
Yeah, it seems like it. Hopefully somebody comes in there. 28 Relics. I didn't know this. This is disappointing. Nat Turner is the angel investor for Courtyard IO, which is one of the biggest repack companies online. I believe they're doing like $50 million of business a month on repacks.
That's
wow. Crazy. And Nat Turner's involved.
Have you ever purchased a repack?
No,
I've never purchased one either.
I mean, I guess technically these were kind of repacks. When I first got back into the hobby, and there were I was doing some breaks like 2017, 2018, and some of the breaks would be like almost like a mystery card or something.
Yeah.
And then, so in that way, it's kind of like a repack because it would be an already slabbed card, and they reveal what it is. So something like that. But I guess it's really easy to do with the thing like Courtyard IO now. It sounds like you can just buy it and immediately sell it back at 90% or whatever, and just keep going, running through the cycle.
and all of the influencers are pumping it too. They're all like, use 20% off discount. I've noticed that they're all posting about it. I mean, it's a very interesting concept. It also creates a lot of liquidity for people, because I know that
Yes.
And the same with, like, the breakers like Blez and all those people. They'll buy everything at 80% of, comps, right? No questions asked, or 90% in this case. And it's like, it's really useful for some people.
Yeah, there's a lot. People are torn about that, right? It's people
Yeah.
that go to shows, especially, because sometimes by the time they get to the shows, everything's been cleaned out by these repackers. And at the same time, you can't really fault the sellers if they know that the repacker is going to give them 90% on a huge
Right.
pile of cards.
Yeah,
Why
absolutely.
would they hold on to them to risk not selling
Absolutely.
it? So,
Yeah, very interesting. I've noticed
yeah.
that a couple of the influencer that, post videos of them at shows will, they'll basically, some guy will come up to their table and they'll be like, okay, I want the whole table. And they're like,
Yeah.
you get three max. Like, and I'm like, kudos to you. Good for you.
Yeah.
You're helping out the collector who wants to, come in and possibly buy these cards. And it's kind of great to see that.
Yeah, it shows you how big it is. And you're right, James. Sometimes they're paying 100% for really liquid cards.
Yeah. Those
So
kabooms.
Ziggy makes a good point. Says breaks are great, repacks not so great. So Ziggy's a break fan. I think the people that defend the repacks say that if you like breaks, you should love repacks, because you're getting more of your money back.
Yeah.
Typically than a break. So I don't know. I personally, I don't do either anymore.
Yeah.
I can see that line of thought, because they're saying, well, we're doing a repack. You're guaranteed at least 60% back of what you pay, or whatever
Right.
the guarantees are.
Yeah.
And compared to ripping wax on a break, you might get nothing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've only entered one break, and that was as a result of too much liquid courage, I guess. I was like, I decided to download the Whatnot app.
Oh boy, on Whatnot too. Wow.
Yeah, as the first time I ever used it, and the last time I ever used it. Then it was when you guys were buying like all this Bowman First, I think, and I was like, oh, I'll enter one of these Bowman First breaks, and I obviously didn't hit anything, but that was the last time. I am buying Max Freed cards, and I actually did just buy a Max Freed card, one that I'm very, very excited about. It hasn't come in the mail yet. It has to go through authenticity.
Can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I should share it now or wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, wait till you have it. You don't want to jinx it.
Right.
Jay says Nat's an investor in the Illuminati.
Yeah,
it
is.
Like
it really does make. The more you think about it, you stay up at night just like grinding your gears.
Yeah. This is another issue that repacks have. Yeah. A way of moving stolen, altered, and fake cards.
That's interesting.
People steal a card, they're willing to let it go at 70%, 75%. Might get a couple repacks down the road before the person who had it stolen from recognizes it. Then whose responsibility is it? Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, you're right. Thorsten, this is a great reason. There's a plethora of reasons why I'm rooting for Trout to be healthy and have a good season. To shove it in Chris's face is at the top of that list. Yeah, Chris is more down on Trout becoming irrelevant. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I think you guys only had that one Trout card, right? Is it
he likes them? Yeah. I've got a couple Trout cards, but I mean, just as like in the sense that doesn't have long-term relevancy.
It's crazy. It's a blasphemous take on Chris's part.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. He's got to if he could just stay semi-healthy and put a few reasonable years together. Can he put some Kyle Schwarber type years together at least to rack up some numbers?
I didn't think there would ever be a day where we put those two names in the same conversation, but you're right. You're absolutely right. He hits for power now, and it's clear that he gave up on any sort of contact hitting, which is interesting.
And he just gets hurt doing everything else. So
yeah, I mean, I think I was talking
51 base seasons.
Yeah, just like, all right, everybody makes fun of Giancarlo Stanton for not running hard, but this is what Mike Trout gets for running hard, trying to beat out an infield single. And it was like, dude, just let it go, I guess, and not risk.
It's tough because then you see the same people blasting guys like Soto for not running it out. So it's hard, but a lot of Trout's injuries have come from not even hustling, slowly rounding second when he tore his calf.
Yeah, did we hear what happened at Bregman? Did they come out and say what the injury actually was?
I haven't heard specifically. I know Chris was just lamenting it because it's going to hurt Devers. as we saw immediately in the Brewers series. They just kept walking him.
I mean, he was having like a career season too.
PvP, he is not a Hall of Famer because he's still active, but he will absolutely be a Hall of Famer when he retires. He's already clearly in there, 3-time MVP. So he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. But and Will's here is blasting Chris a little bit. He was the best player in baseball. Absolutely. Huge WAR numbers, no playoffs. Yeah, he's already got 84 WAR. He just the story's not really there. So Chris's argument is not that he's not good and not that he wasn't dominant, but that he just won't have staying power in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. He's definitely, we all agree he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be in there, but guys with big moments, maybe guys like Freddie Freeman might just be more remembered because they have big moments, and he's going to be consistently good until he's in his late 30s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think, what is Trout, 32?
I think 33, I want to say.
He's the same age as Judge.
And he's moved. You're right, Wills. He's moved, but that move to right field was pretty bad so far this year. I thought he'd be an effective right fielder considering how well he could play center field, but he was bad.
Really? I wasn't even paying attention to.
Yeah, they put him in right to save some strain off his body. And Maury Smith says Bregman has a quad strain.
That's not as bad as it could have been, I guess. I thought he might have, because the way that he came around first and he halted, and when you put that much stress on your knee, sometimes it can result in, Trout-like injuries.
Well, and or Trout-like recovery times. When
seriously.
Injury thought he'd be out 3 weeks. He missed the rest of the season. He's definitely still on a Hall of Fame trajectory, Abel, but you're right. He's not going to get those big round numbers. Not even close. His biggest numbers are WAR, and there's still some people who that really doesn't do a lot for.
Yeah, it's crazy, too, when the first 10 years of his career, how many stolen bases he has, too, right? Like, it's pretty insane to watch back then.
Yeah. And Jay Marble, you're right. I mean, Miguel Cabrera was just taking money the last 8 years of his career. It was just so bad.
It's so bad.
I'm glad Pujols had that nice little bow tie at the end, but he was pretty bad when he came over from St. Louis.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. That end of 2022 was like simultaneously with Judge chasing 62 and then Pujols chasing 700.
Right.
That was a really fun year in terms of the regular season.
Yeah, and I think here Thorson mentions Trout and Judge are the same age. Yes, but I believe Trout had something crazy like 55 WAR before Judge even played a game. So the mileage is heavy on Trout.
Yeah, and I also saw a stat comparison. I think there's someone on Instagram we follow occasionally puts up comparisons of Baseball Reference. Yeah, just random players, and I think they put first 10 seasons for both Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Trout, and Mike Trout was beating him in every stat mostly. So it is kind of really unfortunate just to see, wow, quad out 2 months. What? Yikes.
Yeah, and that Griffey comes up a lot as a comp for sure, but then Griffey did end up putting a lot of home runs together. So he did at least. I mean, he wasn't as dominant his last seasons with the Reds for sure, but the other thing that he had was just a ton of charisma, had the famous swing, had a couple big moments, playoff moments. So Trout just more of a soft-spoken guy.
Yeah. Did the Mariners ever win a championship when he was there?
No.
Did he never got a ring, did he?
No.
Wow. That's pretty wild. Crazy to think about.
And Jay Marble, you're right. I mean, the contracts, they're just albatrosses. The Brewers had one with Ryan Braun. He signed that 10-year deal, and then even when he got suspended for PEDs, it doesn't negate the deal. So they had to be paying a huge amount of a relatively low salary cap type situation at the Brewers.
I randomly ended up doing a deep dive into Ryan Braun's Wikipedia page. Just curious. And it was pretty funny, not funny, I guess, but pretty sad to see that 2016 to 2018, just instances of him denying, and then being like, okay.
Yeah.
I just don't remember specifically. I don't remember exactly how it all played out, but it's just kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, it was a little bit earlier than that even, but he came off that MVP season, and it just everybody he had the town wrapped around his finger.
Right.
Everybody in Milwaukee loved him. We just loved him, and so when he came out and was so staunchly against
Yeah.
what they were accusing him of, uh, I believed him, and a lot of people
Of
did.
course. Yeah.
And
It breaks your heart. Yeah.
yeah, it just was a really, really awful experience, and that the people that he was willing to throw their livelihoods away for his stories, it was really disappointing. So then the fact that you still had him on your team for another 8 years.
Crazy.
Um, Jay Marble, he blamed everybody.
Yeah.
The tester got the majority of it because the tester
Right.
actually took it home that night before
Right.
sending it off.
Yeah.
But yes, there was, yeah,
It's
it was like Rafael Palmeiro pointing his finger at Congress. But yeah, it's very
professional cyclists also come up with the craziest PED excuses. It is so funny how they just reach into the depths of like randomness. Like I was eating too much red meat, and it was like the higher levels of clenbuterol or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right.
And then when Armstrong came out and said, like, we had a van that was following us, that we're just
recycling our blood. Yeah.
Yes, you're right, Wills. It got a little into
Oh my God.
anti-Semitic tropes, and it was the whole thing was really disappointing and upsetting. Yeah, and I just this kind of thing.
Would he still be playing right now if not for all that?
No, he'd probably be out by now, but he was still reasonably effective for a couple of his last years, but there was always hope that he could be traded to somebody with big pockets like the Dodgers.
Yeah,
would finish paying off his contract.
Doc,
absolutely. I'd have more respect for a player that comes out and says, "Yeah, I did it." Did you see how much they paid me?
Yeah,
and that brings somebody else had this comment earlier here. Let's see, it was Amori. But this just isn't how sports works, and especially baseball. The big contract should be depreciating contracts, more money during the younger productive years, but it's completely the opposite. You're basically at the organization's whim and arbitration's whim for the first 6-7 years of your career, and then you get the big contracts. So you get paid a lot for what you did before, but you're right. They don't age well.
To think, though, there are some that will absolutely pay, like, Shohei's contract is going to pay back the Dodgers 3x with all
absolutely
one of those Judge's contract, same thing. I remember Mike Francesa was coming out, this is the worst contract the Yankees have ever, whatever. And it's like, this contract is going to make the Yankees so much money, no matter, even like Pujols' contract towards the end. It's like, people are still going to buy all that merch. They still love him, granted, if obviously the PEDs that changes a lot of things.
Yeah, I just, and Jay Marble says teams should have a complete way to get out of contracts if players test positive. I agree, but it just opens up such a can of worms. Like, do they blame the team physician for giving them something? And it's a very with a strong union like the players union like baseball has, it's tough to do something like that. Right. I was thinking of Andy Pettitte as well. ATL Jeff Black. He did admit that he took it, although it was only an admission that it helped him get back on the field faster. And I know he was very teary and apologetic, but
when A-Rod got tested positive, it wasn't like he was just like, all right, I'm going to accept my punishment. And, like, there was really no big fuss. And he didn't I think he might have appealed, but like, I don't really remember. It was like 2015.
He complained about it. He complained about it a lot and tried to deny it. But interestingly, he's one of those guys whose big contract did pay off. His first contract that the teams got got their money's worth.
Even yeah.
There was a lot of suing and talk of suing around there too.
I don't even remember.
And even about the suspension. Yeah.
Sued ever. That's crazy.
All right, we've got about 15 minutes to go. Let me drop this link in. It looks we've only got like 10 people in, so get in the trivia, please. Yeah, that's true, James. When he's getting $375 million for 10 years to do broadcasting, he doesn't even need to play.
Yeah.
Plus, all the money he's making from those card shops that he's.
I know, that's another thing. Jeez, I mean, it has to be a bubble, right? Like, you would think that this, sadly, like, maybe not the individual sports cards. I don't think like singles, but like this whole concept of wax and these various mechanisms of selling cards and things like that. It just seems, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, is it a game of hot potato?
Yeah.
Speaking of hobby stuff, let's bring up what PSA was mentioned today that got a lot of people talking, including Neo Cards and Comics has a great video on this. If you want to go through the entire survey, he'll take you through it. But PSA sent out a survey and asked how likely you would be to use these services if they provided them. And some of them are just kind of throwaways. But one that caught a lot of people's attention is this card cleaning and the verbiage that they use, about $2.99 per card. Cleaning and light buffing service to remove fingerprints, smudges, dust, and reduce minor surface scratches prior to grading. Now, if you remember, Jake, PSA was anti any sort of cleaning.
Yeah.
You could maybe wipe it down with a cloth, microfiber cloth. Absolutely no cleaning, and they were even decertifying some cards that were found to be clean.
Gate, right?
What?
It was Wembanyama Gate.
Right? Yeah. When they did Wemby, and he gave a shout out to Kurt.
Yeah.
So before we get further into this,
hired Kurt. That's funny.
I want to bring up a comment from Ryan Hoge, who is the CEO? I can't remember what his title is, but
I think he's president.
Basically,
or maybe
a president. Thank you. And he said, is seeing plenty of buzz about a recent PSA card survey sent to customers. To be clear, we're always gauging interest for potential new service offerings, but this is simply a survey. The wipe service is relevant as we see more cards coming directly to grading from eBay, where collectors aren't able to inspect or wipe the card themselves, which, yes, is a huge issue. It's not uncommon for PSA graders to remove fingerprints or smudges, but this concept would make it an official service we offer. Appreciate the conversation as always. And Neo responded, so this cleaning service would just be a microfiber wipe. No spray or anything like that would be involved. And Ryan responded, no juice, no wax. Okay. You remember the verbiage that they used. They specifically said buffing.
Yeah.
A light buffing. Well, you have to have some sort of wax to buff something out. And it's also said that they would get rid of light scratches. And you're not getting rid of light scratches without a product on there. It just doesn't happen. You can't just get rid of light scratches by wiping it down with a microfiber.
Yeah.
So are we seeing PSA already backpedaling once they've heard all of this, all of the people being upset and kind of calling out their hypocrisy on it, or what's going on?
I think he probably got himself into more hot water by responding to that person. He probably should have just said it's a survey, move on. I mean, it's by him.
Yeah, no wax, but they chose carefully the words that they put in their offering about some light buffing and getting scratches out, which are things that you can't do with a microfiber cloth. It just doesn't happen. And this, Ryan is right. Go ahead.
So Scotty B had the head grader of CGC on his.
Yeah, it was CGC.
And that was really insightful as to how they treat the cards. And I think I've actually heard Nat say this in some sort of interview before, but supposedly when they do receive the card, they do clean it. They do wipe the surface with a microfiber cloth. That's what I've obviously gotten cards back that had fingerprints on them, but like that was
right. Yes, and I've had fingerprints as well. But that's what Lucas is saying. If they do it already, which they're supposed to be doing it, why pay?
Right.
And it sounds like they only care about cleaning if they aren't making the cash. And I think that's exactly right. They're thinking, the majority of people are cleaning their cards. Why not just pay us to do it?
Jeff, is this a foolproof way to guarantee yourself a PSA 9 or 10? You know, if it's being cleaned and refurbished by the graders themselves, odds of, you know, paying an extra $6, it's a little
You're
worrisome.
absolutely right.
It's a little worrisome.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. You wonder, do they know? Does the grader know that it's been cleaned? Who's doing the cleaning? Is it the same person that's doing the grading? Mike said he called this when Kirk was on Jeremy Lee's show 9 months ago. I suggest that Kirk goes to work for PSA. They can't tell the difference anyway. And that's a huge point. Yeah. They can't. They came out publicly and said, no solvents, no wax can be used on your cards. And if we detect it, we'll decertify them. But they've proven that they can't tell the difference. They can't detect it. So Mike's right. If you can't beat them, join them, right?
For S's and G's, I actually applied to a grader's position at PSA.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't heard back. Oh, I applied. They have like a bunch of like various openings, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I just saw. So I applied, and like it's like, all right. Well, Alex was like, you do this every day, anyways. Why not just?
That would be awesome.
I know. How funny would that be? But
that would be.
So I'm waiting to hear back on that. But I could solve all of our problems, guys.
Oh man, yes, you'd get the inside scoop. 28 Relics makes a good point too. If you don't, will they judge you? Will they judge you harshly for not using their service? Oh, they don't need to be cleaned. All right, well,
it's like
there's
check out. Are you sure you don't want to?
And a plumberman, this is absolutely true. That you have the eBay to PSA direct service, and we've talked about this on the show and on Spitballing as well. Like, I don't feel comfortable buying a raw card and send it immediately to grading, whether it's from ComC or eBay, without seeing it, because there's a lot of issues you can tell, money you can save by not submitting something in hand. So yes, there's definitely a need for it or an issue with it.
You know,
and I guess PSA is saying, well, why not just pay?
I think that I completely agree with you that I wouldn't touch it with a 6-foot pole. Obviously, sometimes you get cards and you need to see them before you. But on the other hand, recently PSA or eBay, with the authenticity guarantee when buying a raw card, has really provided some detailed photos of the conditions of cards. They give you the option now. If the card doesn't pass their inspection, they give you the option to decline it or accept it. But they really do. They really do provide really great detailed images of just where the flaws are in the card. So I'm wondering if maybe they could leverage that in some way to, you know, provide, because like, again, you know, nobody in the right mind would just send it unless you're really new to it. But
yeah, and that's a good point. The authentication, despite my recent, if you saw it, Jake, when I got my
the Churio,
my Heritage Gold back, it was sticking out. Yeah, that was scary. But
they used to remember when they used to put 2 sleeves. They used to double sleeve it.
Yes.
Do they still not do that?
They can't afford that.
Yeah,
they don't want to spend that extra 13
really
cents.
called penny sleeve. Yeah,
you're right, Mike. It's a profit stream, and kudos to them for finding every way to wring out the last cent. It's just unfortunate. I don't know what else to say. You're right. Yeah.
Again, I try and you know, ignorance is bliss sometimes in this hobby.
Yeah.
Because the more just I think about how little transparency and how much of we're just, you know, again, at their beck and call, is the more you really start to get worked up. So I try, again, I think a big important part is for us to enjoy our cards and enjoy the hobby. And
and if it starts to become, you enjoy it more when you're not sending cards to PSA, maybe that's just it. I mean, I've got my stack of raw cards that are staying raw here, and I'm happy with them.
Yeah, that's super cool.
SFO Sox fan, this is a great point. I'd be curious what the liability language will be on the wiping services. I'd be nervous, to be honest. There are a lot of cards that are really tough condition-wise. Some paper cards, acetate cards especially.
Imagine grading that Honus Wagner. I want some wiping cleaning service on that Honus Wagner.
Yes, the 100-year-old paper starts to peel off there.
Yeah. Oh
or if they're going to wipe down your high-tech cards or your Topps clear cards, because I found that you can't even wipe those with a microfiber cloth. They scratch so easily. You just have to, for the most part, be willing to accept your 7 or 8. So I'm very curious on this as well. I would almost do that. Yeah, send a because you get the before pictures, I would assume. The
Yeah.
before and after pictures.
Right. Yeah. Although, again, I think all those other services, they shouldn't charge for the high quality images. That's kind of ridiculous. And
yeah, why would they charge for that? And then they also the $1.99 for the sleeve.
They're so crappy too. Those sleeves that they
Yeah.
provide for the slabs are like the worst. But I would pay for the grader notes for quite a few cards. Yes.
Yes, although some of the graders notes have left a little to be desired. Hey,
Yes.
Mike, look at this. July 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, the Rangers play at the Angels. I'd love to leave you tickets and field passes for BP. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
July 8th is my birthday, actually.
Oh.
So that would be a really, really cool experience.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Yes. Well, please let us know how to get in touch with you. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
really, really kind of you. Really, really generous.
And
yeah.
Chris better be back in town too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I think
That's
my
so awesome.
my email's on our YouTube page. Otherwise, you could find us on IG for sure. We'll get.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mike's your local broadcaster. 28. Nice.
That's so cool, man. This is awesome. Oh man, it's really. I'll tell you what. It's Chris Taylor, BP. He is a handsome guy, Megan. I will say that. Having him watching him play. He's a good looking guy. I don't blame him for being a fan. It's just so cool to see the community, like, getting messages from people and like just the whole community around Blabbin, and obviously where it's kind of gotten us. It's incredible to see every day.
Well, it's so much fun because otherwise it just used to be us sitting around talking about cards.
I know.
Find other like-minded people who don't mind hanging out for a couple hours a week talking about cards. Oh, who's this?
This is Leroy Satchel Page.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Yeah, little man. He's big,
much younger than the real Satch.
Yeah, much younger, but he can still. Yeah, he's a young whippersnapper. Still throws 95.
SoCal Rage. How often will they change the microfiber? Will it be like a bad car wash where they leave swirl marks from the previous dirty card? There's a lot of issues there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just bought a fresh pack of microfibers because, you can wash them and stuff, but it's still, you don't try. You gotta replace them frequently.
Yeah, they'll add that to the cost. Don't worry, they'll add that to the cost. All right, just a couple more minutes before trivia. We're going to try to get this going. We're going to try to do our first trivia without Chris. So,
yeah, and then afterwards I can share a couple of cool cards.
Yes, we got to see some judge cards as long as you're here.
I actually don't have.
Oh,
I
come
do.
on. Okay.
I have. All right, I have.
Leroy's getting a lot of fan mail in the chat.
Yeah, that's my man. Could be it's any Leroy you want. To me, it's I like Satchel Page. But everybody at the dog park just yells Leroy Jenkins. You might not get that reference, Chris or Jeff.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a famous like one of the very first YouTube videos of World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, I'm acceptably a nerd, so when I say a bunch of nerds are like playing World of Warcraft, and then out of nowhere, this guy goes, "All right, let's do this," and he screams his name, Leroy Jenkins, and he runs into like this battle without any of the help, and they're like, did he just oh no, and it's a very funny video.
All right, I'll have to check it out. I'm too old for that. That's something. I have other nerd tendencies, and bad Leroy Brown is
bad Leroy Brown, better than a junkyard dog. You'd be surprised the number of different Leroys I've heard at the dog park.
Yeah. Well, the main character on the show I'm on, his name is Leroy Jethro Gibbs.
That's right.
There you go. I know a lot.
He could be Leroy. He keeps hearing his name, and he's like,
he keeps hearing nobody's watching TV. Michigan Cards and Graphs, a previous trivia winner. Glad you got the card. Great timing as I got him in my Dynasty League 2 days ago in a trade for Michael Harris. What a trade. I have Michael Harris on 3 teams, and I've been shopping him since January. Nobody's picking him up.
You and Chris must be the worst fantasy baseball players in the history of fantasy.
Well, my teams are either really good or really bad.
I've only ever heard bad things about your guys.
Well, that's because we always like to complain.
Chris texted me, was like, "Well, what the hell is wrong with Austin Wells? Can't he get an RBI?" And I was like, "What is this? Why is he texting me about Austin?"
Fantasy. You don't play any fantasy baseball?
No, I don't have the attention span for it.
All right. Joey, today I picked up my Paul Skeens oversized OSA graded card. Sad it came back a 6.
Ooh.
Sounds like a disappointment. I get that.
That's a cool card though. Still.
Yeah.
Oh, your middle name's Leroy. That's sweet.
We'll have to ask Chris. I don't know that he bought a. I don't know if he bought a AJ Smith-Shawver card. I hope he didn't.
I can tell you one person who did, and that is Gregory. If he's here today, I would. My thoughts and prayers. I mean, honestly, this is kind of how. Obviously, my Garrett Cole collection is nowhere to the extent of his Ass Man collection. But when I heard the news that Garrett Cole was going to get his elbow evaluated, I was like nauseous.
You can relate, yeah. All right, last call for trivia. Oh, we got 36 people in there. Excellent. And you are playing for a Jesus Made card that Jake pulled out of a. Where'd you get it? Best Buy.
Yeah, Best Buy Blaster, Bowman Blaster. I think it's the first Bowman I've ever opened, I think.
First Bowman product.
Yeah, I've never really, just because like the hobby boxes are so expensive.
Yeah.
But
they're getting way too expensive.
Yeah.
Just like everything is.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody who's in is in. Everybody get in. Okay, we're at almost 40 people. So we're going to try this. Jake, you have to keep me M. Parsons with the positivity. Ass Man will come back. He's young.
Yeah, he will. He's young.
So you got to tell me if this is working. Okay, so I believe if everybody's ready, I'm going to start the countdown. Okay, and then I'm going to go into this and try. Is there a countdown going on for anybody?
Yeah, there is. It's 2, 1, and there we go.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. We're getting there. You have to read your first question yourselves. Which of these players has won an MVP? Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, or Randy Johnson?
Here come the technical difficulties.
All right. So even though I was slow to the jump, 72% of the people said Justin Verlander. Excellent work. Oh, Michigan Cards and Graphs, of course. You should be up there.
It's great to see Jacob deGrom back, telling the slab.
Which of these players has won an MVP? Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, Gary Sheffield, or Ken Griffey Jr.? A lot of good players. Only one MVP there.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Brewers legend, Gary Sheffield. All right, Ken Griffey Jr. Chef got 1 vote. All right. 64% of you said Ken Griffey Jr., and he indeed was an MVP. Will's taking the lead.
Where's Clean Cards? He's not playing this week?
Which of these seasons resulted in an MVP award? Ted Williams hit 406. Ichiro 262 hits. Mark McGwire 70 home runs, or Jose Canseco the first to 40-40. Trivia aside, Jake, I was at the game where Canseco got to 40-40. Still
what?
Base.
Were you really?
Held the base over his head. Yeah.
No way. That's amazing.
On a scorecard the next year.
Wow.
32% of you said Jose Canseco. Will's small lead over Lincoln Thomas. Which player currently has the highest selling 2025 Bowman Red Rookie logo card? James Wood, Jacob Wilson, Jackson Jobe, or Ben Rice? As you know, you have to qualify and win Rookie of the Year for these to be worth anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Wood has been, well, I don't know. They've both been great, but Wood has looked like he's got staying power, but he can't qualify for the Rookie of the Year. So, sorry. LJB Cav at the top. 1980 Topps features the iconic rookie card of which Hall of Famer? Ozzie Smith, Ricky Henderson, Johnny Bench, or Cal Ripken Jr.? Anybody going with Johnny Bench on this one? Part of the Big Red Machine.
One answer. Oh, no. It had to be Megan. Megan, I know. Johnny Bench.
Uh-oh. Fighting words from Jake.
Parsons.
79% of the people got it correct.
It's a battle
Wills
between Megan and me of who can do the worst.
I'm looking for M. Parsons on there. Which of these is not a card grading company? PSA, CGC, ABC, or SCG? I believe there's a typo in that. That's my problem. So
you should be able to. Zero answers. You're good.
All right. That was supposed to be SGC. Thank you for looking past my typo. 100% of you got it correct.
Honestly, though, you would have been fooled if I would have been. ABC could definitely be a grading company that we don't know of.
That's right. And I like SFO Sox fan. Michael Jordan played for the Birmingham Barons, an affiliate of which team? Chicago Cubs, Detroit Tigers, Chicago White Sox, or Atlanta Braves? You're too young, but Michael Jordan is a professional basketball player, Jake, a former professional basketball player. And he,
really?
Look at 39.
I always just thought him as the minor league legend, Michael Jordan.
That was the question from my son's book. Terry Francona was his manager. All right, Wills is holding the lead over Cav. The movie Rookie of the Year is about which Major League Baseball team? The Angels, the Indians, the Cubs, or the Twins? A lot of good movies about all of these.
Yeah, there really
teams.
is. I need to watch number A again. I wanted to see that again. I haven't seen it.
And we've got the Cubs is the correct answer for this one. 27 people got it right. Yeah, 2 in a row was 100%. Excellent work. Wills and Cavs. Who is the only MLB player to win at least 4 MVP awards? Shohei Ohtani, Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, or Babe Ruth? Good trick to use Angels, John said. Yeah. Little Angels in the outfield. Who is the only MLB player to win at least 4 MVP awards? The correct answer, of course, is Barry Bonds. That could change.
What number A?
Wills.
I hit my head.
626. Which of these players has won an MVP? Carlos Delgado, Fred McGriff, Mark Teixeira, or Justin Morneau? Some legendary first baseman right there. But only 1 MVP. I'd say probably the 4th best player up there. Justin Morneau is correct. 26 of you got that. All right, let's see who the winners are. Who's going to take home this Jesus-made Amori?
Wow.
676. Great job.
That's pretty solid for third place.
Yep. 698 for Cav. Uh-oh. Did Wills break the 700 club? 702.
Do we have
Congratulations, Willsy.
Maybe we should start getting a tiny little trophy engraved with the 700 clubs.
Yeah, you're right. I thought you were going to say like a trophy that we just have to send to the person, and they have to send to the person sending. Oh, sorry, Thorson. It was a great season. Yeah. Great job, guys.
Yeah, well done.
I'm trying to find where
there's
where MJP is, because she's supposed to be the measuring stick, but maybe she didn't play.
She didn't play. Did she?
I'm good at the poor trivia. I'm bad at all the card minutia. All right. Well, Willsy, make sure you give us your address, and I will get that out to you. The red rookie question got me. Yeah, that's a tough one because James Wood, you'd think he'd have the highest selling one because he is the type of player that the hobby loves, but he can't get the bonus points for winning Rookie of the Year since he doesn't qualify.
That's crazy.
Another oversight.
I'm pretty sure Ben Rice doesn't qualify either.
He doesn't?
I don't. I'm pretty sure. I like. He played at least how many games is it to not be able to qualify for Rookie of the Year?
I think it's 30. I want to say, or it's based on plate appearances as well.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, LJB got all of them correct, which only led to a 7th place finish. Wow, that's tough. Yeah, you got to be quick on the fingers with some of these guys.
I'm a slow reader myself, so.
David O, I would say this is probably true. James Wood isn't valued as much as he should be yet, maybe because he plays for the Nationals. Yeah, he's kind of in a hobby purgatory there right now, and I think once some people catch up on what he's been doing,
so much talent on that team, and I think Mackenzie Gore just got hurt as well, which is
he
sad.
did.
He left early. I think he some sort of strain.
He was on pace for Amori says 40 games or 140 at bats. I don't know if the games is that high, is it? Maybe. But Mackenzie Gore was on pace for a crazy
strikeout number, 300 strikeouts.
Professor, this is that's an issue. I give him credit for trying to do this, trying to make the cards have some value, but it just with so many players not qualifying, it's a little rough.
Yeah.
All right, let's see some cards. Jake.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see what we got.
Speaking of fun PC cards, I absolutely love. I think I posted it quite a few times, but I absolutely love 2024 Finest and specifically the 93 Finest What If gold refractors.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Here, hold on. I got to make your
So here is bigger. I think I have a few of them I bought graded. Like I got a Freddie PSA 10, I got a Trout PSA 10, Judge, Cole. But this is the remainder of the checklist. They were all probably under $20. Maybe a lot of them under 10. And just they're beautiful. They're such cool cards. They make me nostalgic, and it's really
is that the entire set then? You got the whole set?
Most of the set. I have some graded that are inside the house. And I'm only missing one. And I just refuse to pay.
What are you missing?
Shohei.
Oh boy.
He's just like the gold PSA 10 is like $700.
Oh
it's just like I don't want to. I'll have to buy a raw one, and I don't ever want to pay more than like. I know I'm gonna have to, pucker up and buy it, but hopefully maybe a cheap raw one will come up and I can win it on auction.
How many are in the set?
Total I think there's 25. So there's key rigs like Jackson Holiday's in there. I have the 10 of him. Bobby Witt Jr., PSA 10 of him. I have my slab binder that has, the graded ones. I haven't graded these ones yet just because it hasn't been on my, I'm not really doing them to have them graded. I just really like the look of the set, but I probably will send them in to get graded just to be able to, put the slab binder together for the whole set.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard once you have some of a run to graded and some not. It's hard not to. It's another way PSA gets us.
Yes,
our collectors' tendencies of keeping things uniform. You're getting a compliment about that festive Yankees hat. I know you've talked about it before. Was it a spring training?
Spring training, but for some reason, it's like I need to probably wash it though too. It's like Miami Beach themed.
Yeah,
that the Yankees are based in Tampa. So, I think they did it with all teams.
It was like a Miami / Padres jersey type.
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
I know. You know what? It's dang Instagram. Yeah. These Instagram ads. I bought more hats via Instagram ads. I'll tell you what, they get me. I probably got 10 Yankee hats I bought via Instagram ads.
Targeting ads. That's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah. So this card here was probably one of my biggest pickups in quite a while. Not even monetarily, but like, So this came from good buddy Stadium Club Enthusiast on Instagram. This is the wave. It's hard to tell. This is the wave refractor of this 2020 Stadium Club.
Oh yeah.
So the 2020 is even more rare than I think any of the other years. I actually have the completed rainbow of this card, including the superfractor.
Oh my gosh!
And
I rainbow and those waves. What is that? Like a 12 print run of 12?
Yeah, somebody's told me that's a print run of 12. So there's never been one sell on eBay. The superfractors even sold twice on eBay, and no wave of that 2020 has ever sold. I never thought I'd see it. And then
how did you see it? Did he post it on his?
Yeah, so good buddy Clean Cards sent me him posting it, and he found it in a dollar box at his LCS.
Awesome.
And it's not to say that many people would pay more than $1 probably for it, just because But to me, it's got a lot more value. So I'm really excited that that was the final piece of the rainbow. And now, and it's what's great about Stadium. Another reason why we love 2020 Stadium Club Chrome. There's 5 parallels. There's an X-Fractor, refractor, red, orange, gold.
It's an achievable,
right.
It's an achievable rainbow.
So that one was a big pickup. And then
while you're thinking about it, I just want to give Thorson a shout out. He got a card off his list today. It was hockey, but not baseball. So he's thinking we won't have an interest, but I'm excited for you. So tell us at least what it is, or did you already? Thorson, you got to tell us. I don't know if it's somebody we'll know, but that's awesome. Congrats on getting something off your list.
Certainly, that one's a one for the Chris. Chris collects hockey cards. Do you collect hockey cards?
No. SFO socks. No, I know very little about hockey. I went through a phase when I was younger of about 3 years where I was a huge minor league hockey fan because Milwaukee had a minor league team. They still do, the Admirals. And it was really fun to go to the games.
Yeah, they're super cheap and fun.
But they didn't have any cards, so I never got into that. I got a bunch of autographs from them, autographed pucks, things like that. But no, I don't know much about pro hockey at all.
Interesting. So let's see. The next card that I picked up, just a really nice, cheap COMC purchase.
Yeah.
For the best reliever in the game. So this was I think it was $8 or $10 on COMC.
It's funny because it's not that one, Jake. But last year when I first got into COMC, I sent in 5 Luke Weaver cards. They were
really
Diamond Icon autographs. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I thought would never have any value, and they all sold. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I love to see the resurgence in his career. He's fun to watch, and he's a unique guy. I actually, after the last Blabbin we did, a guy reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I have a bunch of Luke Weaver cards if you're interested." And I ended up buying the True Red Chrome, True Gold Chrome, the SSP and the SP from him for $100, and the package got lost in the mail.
Oh no!
So
have you seen him surface?
No, nothing. Oh. It's still just sitting. It says out for delivery. It's been sitting that way for about 2 months now.
Oh, that's infuriating.
And obviously, as I'm sure a lot of people in this stream are good friends with their mailman, who I actually have his number and text.
Oh, you have his personal number. I
have his personal number. He's a really great guy. When you get tens of thousands of dollars worth of cards delivered to hopefully my wife's not watching, delivered to your house.
Tens of dollars of cards.
Tens of dollars of cards delivered to your house. He's probably a guy you should be friends with. And he's just a really nice guy. But anyways, he called the post office and was like, yeah, they can't find it. So sad that those are now. I was really looking forward to having his SSP. It's a cool card of him in the dugout. And that's another one that I think I talked about this before, but it was released in update, but it's technically a Series 1 card number. The card number is it's 150 or something, but it was released in update as a lot. There's a bunch of them that are card numbers that are in the 100s or 200s that were released in update.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Was
some
the
of
guy a big Cardinals fan? How come he had these Weavers?
He said that he bought a bunch of Luke Weaver and Max Fried back in 2017 and 2018 when they were rookies. I don't think he was particularly a fan, but yeah. See, I was really excited about that True Red. It was a cool color match for his Cardinals days.
Well, I hope they'll turn up. You never know.
Yeah, I have hope. One time I bought an Austin Wells rookie, a True Photo rookie.
Yeah.
And it was cheap card, $20 maybe. And it got lost in the mail again. And then 3 months later it showed up, or 3 or 4 months later it showed up, and the top loader that it was in had been completely yellowed, as if it had been sitting out in a storm, unless the guy sent the card in a top loader that was you could barely see through. But the card was not great shape. So I'm assuming that it just must have been in the middle of a Texas post office somewhere and
just baking
somewhere in the sun. Yeah.
Baking in the sun.
Who knows?
John, I've heard it both ways. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's really COMC.
Yeah.
I think it's really COMC, but
yeah,
I also call it COMC.
Yeah, COMC sounds like a wrestler's name or something.
Yeah.
And then, that's not, I don't really have too many recent pickups. I have, obviously the Judge Pro refractors are cool. I'm looking for the rest of those. So I need 2024 and I also need 2021. So if you guys have any of those,
Chrome refractors,
the Stadium Club Pearl refractors.
The Stadium Club Pearl ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a cool pickup for me. This was one of those fun instances where I sent the guy had it. I think he listed it on eBay for like $79.99 starting at auction, and I sent him an offer for like $125, and he declined it, or it got auto declined, and then I ended up being the only one that bid on the card. So it's always fun when that works out for you.
So you got it for less?
Yep.
Nice work.
And then I bought a really cheap Bowman First Chrome Sapphire of this young gentleman named Ben Hess, who has
let me pull you up big there. Yeah. Okay.
Who has maybe he's a right-hander, even though it looks left-handed. His delivery looks spitting image to Garrett Cole. And so I was like, for $6, I'll buy a Bowman First card of his.
What level is he at?
He's a single A right now. He was just drafted. So
okay.
He's a low A ball, but I have a feeling he'll move up.
Jake's moving into prospecting. You heard it here first.
One prospect that did not
prospecting.
Please don't clip that.
John says, I just purchased 2020 Stadium Club Chrome Soda Refractor PSA 10.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. All thanks to you guys and your love of that set.
Yeah.
And to add my Soto Nats collection. We do love that set. And that's a
card
great card.
You'll never get tired of looking at.
No.
Yeah.
No, especially as a Soto fan or Nats fan.
Did we pull one? I don't think we pulled one. Did we? Or did we pull one in the last week or 2 weeks ago? We got
not a refractor.
Not the refractor, but the base at least. Can't remember.
I don't think we did. No. I've only pulled one of those.
And then fun, cheap pickups for my 2018 set. Sometimes when these come up and they look super clean, just, for $2 or $3.
Let me make you big again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's back when he had the long hair.
Yeah, back when he was dealing 99, 100 at 120 pounds.
Yeah.
Remember how skinny he was? It's crazy. Yeah, but he pitched against the Yankees, and I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to watch that, but it was really fun to see him deal. He's like one of the only guys I'll ever watch dicing up the Yankees. It's just they can't hit him. Obviously, not many people can, but him and Judge had this really great battle, and they both smirked at each other afterwards. Like Judge was
really,
like, "Oh, you got away with one," because he gave him a couple of pitches that Judge just missed, and even DeGrom, like when Judge was running off, Judge gave him a smirk, and DeGrom gave him one of these. Like,
it's fun to see those kind of matchups. I know that the Gagne Bonds matchup's been going around. It's just fun to see great players. I mean, I don't know if DeGrom, you can't say he was really at the top of his game now, but still he's an elite Hall of Fame level talent, and seeing those guys face off, it's great.
Right. It's like that Maddox Bonds thing. I wish they were in the same for talking about it. And Bonds it's so funny how cocky he is. Like, obviously rightfully so. But he's like, you can't come in the wheelhouse twice, buddy. Yeah. And it's just like so true.
And, hearing Bonds talk about hitting, both of them,
crazy.
But setting people up for things later in the season, for further seasons. I did see this. Royale's pointing out that the Judge and Ron Washington exchange yesterday was hilarious. So you want to explain it for those who didn't see it?
Yeah. So it's the first inning. I think there's a runner on second. Judge is batting third. Ron Washington intentionally walks Judge. First base was open, which was really weird. Just like, it's like, I don't even think, I'm sure Barry Bonds obviously had it happen, but so third inning comes up, first base, first and second, people are on first and second. Ron Washington intentionally walks Judge again to load the bases. And this is all, within the first 3 innings. And it was like, even Michael Kay, the announcer, was like, people come here to watch him hit, and you're going to intentionally walk it. And you're not going to be many fans after this. But, and then the next at bat, he finally, I think it was a close game the whole time, but the next Judge at bat, Judge kind of looked over in the dugout to Ron Washington and gave him one of these little smirk. And Ron Washington just was like,
he was.
And he actually, it worked out because even with the bases loaded, they got out of the inning unscathed, and Ron Washington was like, yeah, like, you
Yeah.
know, it paid off. It was like the riskiest thing.
Yeah. I mean,
It was fun.
I don't blame Wash. I don't
Yeah.
blame the fans for being upset, and I'm glad Judge took it as a good sport. It's just
Yeah.
a level of respect that most
Yeah.
hitters never get.
Considering he, like, you know, Judge apparently a couple of press conferences, and even Aaron Boone has said, like, Judge, like, says he's not feeling great at the plate right now. Obviously, you know, putting up the numbers he is, and even Aaron Boone's like, this isn't even, like, you know, the most locked in I've seen him. And
His walk rate isn't that high. It's true.
No, he's chasing a lot, like,
Yeah.
chasing at pitches he normally never would. But it was just interesting to see him get intentionally walked when he really hasn't. You know, there was a span last year of like 2 months where if you put the ball over the plate, it was gone. He's kind of, his timing is really off right now, so it's like it was kind of interesting to see him be intentionally walked like that. But I guess it is Aaron Judge.
Still is Aaron Judge, right? He's still dangerous whenever he comes up there, and especially with anybody on base.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to pitch him anywhere too close.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see him in person, and everybody says this, but he literally is. I'm a big guy, and he looks massive to me. So, and we had pretty solid tickets where, like, you know, we could, you know, pretty close to him, but he's a behemoth of a human.
He's a big man, huh?
Yeah.
I just always think of the card. Was it from 2018 where he's on with Altuve?
Yeah.
When they're
There
both
was
at
an
second
Independence Day. That card came up recently, and I wanted to buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have probably snapped up something like that. It's just like, here's two people, both really good at what they do.
Yeah.
And they're completely different.
So,
it's like a different species, like
both
a giant versus.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like both can hit home runs the same distance in both. David and Goliath, literally.
It's fun to see, and I think that's one thing people love, or I know I love about baseball, is you just get all the shapes and size. You get a guy like Dan Vogelbach,
your boy Caleb
professional
Durbin,
athlete,
4'11".
What?
Caleb Durbin, your second base is like 4. He's like 5'2".
Love Caleb. He's so small. He's so small.
Funny.
I think they list him at 5'6". Maybe
no
maybe
way. He's like 5'4" on a good day.
But he hit a huge double in a couple days ago, and just the excitement that the team has around him. Yeah, it's just you don't have to be big. I mean, all these guys are strong. You see, like, their forearms and hands, they're crazy. But
I mean, it's like, look at DeGrom. You know, it's like another guy we talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tall, so he's got leverage, but the guy, I mean, he can, you know, he's throwing 100 at probably 140 pounds or whatever. 150. He was so skinny.
Even like Sale. I mean, Sale could blow away, and he's tall, but man.
And then you've got Aroldis Chapman, a 6'5", 290-pound, just yoked guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is.
Cartaholic, we were just talking about this before we came on the air. Burbank is officially opening tomorrow. I've driven past there each of the last 2 days because I had to go to the airport twice, and it looks awesome. They've got the murals done on the outside. They're still putting up some of the signage and painting stuff, but it looks incredible. I don't think I'm going to be able to go tomorrow. I have a thing with my son at school, and then it's going to. I think the lines are going to be crazy. It's going to be like when we waited in line at the first Burbank show.
Oh my God, yeah. I think either Nat Turner or Ryan Hogue are actually going to be there. They said, I think his daughter, Rob's daughter, was like saying that there's going to be a really PSA special guest. So I'm assuming it's going to be one of those guys.
Interesting, like cutting the ribbon, symbolic cutting the ribbon of PSA's first retail space.
I have to imagine, you know, it's a big enough deal for one of them to come. So that would be really cool if you got to meet one of them.
That's true. Although I'd have some questions about some of this news that's just come out, and that's probably not what they want to be talking about.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you'll probably agree with me that the absolute best part of this new location is the parking. There's going to be a parking lot.
They have 70 parking spots. And interestingly, they right behind their parking lot is a parking lot for a sound studio, where I've went like 3 times this year to do ADR recording after a show. If they don't have good audio, you go there. Yeah. So I've been watching it all the time as they've been building it out. And that parking lot, they've got a parking lot south of there and then right outside the east side of the store. Yeah. It's awesome.
Oh my God.
He talked about putting some card shows up in the parking lot. They're going to have so much more flexibility. If you've been to the current Burbank location, it's an awesome store, but they've got like 8 parking spots in front and a very angry tenant next door.
8 would be generous. It'd be like 2.
Yeah.
And if you park, you will literally get like, he's come on Instagram and been like, if you park there, you will be towed within half an hour. He gets pissed.
Yeah. Wilsey, I'm claiming Alejandro Kirk, Vogelbach, and Schwarber for my softball team when they retire. They look like the perfect softball players, and they'd probably absolutely destroy anything on the softball field.
Schwarber's really gotten in pretty good shape, since he was like a rookie. He used to be pretty chubby, and now he's like pretty fit, I think. At least he looks it.
Will's saying it's all technique, just like tennis. Some of the biggest hitters have little muscle on them, but what they do have is muscle on their forearms and hands.
Yeah.
That's all those swings.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They're of all builds.
28
relics. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. Very nice of you.
If you're looking to get into some short print image variations, what website checklist are you using to find out what's out there? Luckily, we have Short Print a Day on with us, and he can tell you maybe a little bit about his.
Well, process. We won't dive into the entire history of short prints. I think a great resource to begin with is watching these blabbing about slabbing videos, the pre-recorded, the videos that you guys, not necessarily streams, but you guys have done some really informative videos. But I use Cardboard Connection a lot, and I use Beckett a lot. And that's literally just by Googling the set name and then variations. And generally, you can get a lot of information about that. Baseball Cardpedia is also super, super useful for kind of looking for any set checklist, like parallel estimates and things like that. But I think your best bet is going to be Cardboard Connection. They put up a really informative for basically every set. So like, an interesting thing that I'd mentioned earlier in the show is that in 2017, a lot of like all of the just the short prints, not the SSPs, but all of the SPs were inserted from Update, basically. So when they released Update, they like Mike Trout has an SP of holding a bat in 2017 on his shoulder. That card is a Series 1 card, but it was released in Update. That's something that you'll learn reading through, the Cardboard Connection kind of profile of the variation sets.
Yeah, it's a good point because it's difficult looking at a place like eBay because people can make their own titles and list whatever they want. And so you see SSP, image variation, photo variation, short print, super short print, all of these words thrown on things that aren't really those cards.
A Costco companion card.
Yeah, or they might be a low numbered card and they're calling it an SSP. But typically the ones we talk about are variations, a different picture of the same card number in a set. So that's typically what we're referring to when we're talking about SSPs. Yeah.
And it's all, again, it's obviously all going to be just, trial and error a little bit, not trial and you don't want to obviously, but you learn the more you search through things and the more you kind of buy things. What got me hooked was the first time I think I had started buying wax in 2020 as everybody starts off. It's, you go to your local Target, and I lived like right next to a Target in Manhattan. And so I used to just buy blaster boxes of whatever it was. But in 2022, Wander Mania, I remember opening a blaster box and I pulled a Wander Franco card that had a different image of Wander Franco. And I was like, this is kind of weird. This is interesting. And so I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is a short print. And I listed it on eBay shortly after, and I sold for like $500 back in, Wander Mania days. But that was like, I was like, holy cow, there's a really serious market for these things. And it was such a cool concept to me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I learned. And then I started looking in, and it's where I Googled, the variation checklist and what have you.
Yeah, and part of the fun, and I'm sure Jake will agree, is the hunt for some of these.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might be at a show and see something peeking out from under one of the cards, and you might recognize it as a card as an SSP you want. So yeah, we do. Chris and I do have a video up, basically the history of short prints or what it means. So definitely search that just to get a primer on it. But
I mean, you can probably spend days learning about players going through their videos and just learning about, players' best SSPs. If there's any particular player, they've kind of, I think that's going to be probably your best tool to really as an introduction.
Yeah, we've done quite a few players, like what cards you can look for. Our most recent one was a Corbin Carroll, and we definitely touch on what some SSPs of his to look for.
Yeah.
Cardaholic, related question: the Costco companion cards, are they considered SPs?
I wouldn't consider them an SP. I would just consider them a Costco. It's kind of like, I don't consider them an SP. I mean,
no, I think they're more of like, I don't know. They fall into like a parallel or
just almost like, Target red borders. I mean, that's kind of different because those are parallels, but I think the images are really cool. Some of the images on the companion cards are really cool, especially those oversized ones.
The oversized ones are pretty cool. Yeah,
and really cool.
It's fun for a PC piece, but yeah, as far as a real SP or short print, it's not exactly the same.
I've got a couple of the Judge oversized ones. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Kmart exclusive.
Professor Dugout, yes, a callback to those of us who can remember the Kmart exclusive.
Man, yeah.
Kmart league leaders. Chasing Majors, here is an excellent resource you should use, 28 Relics. Chasing Majors, they're an insert. The number on the back is different than the base set. Okay.
Layaway at Kmart. I think we just call that PayPal, pay now, pay later. Now, isn't that, they just remember layaway?
Layaway, yeah, that's a concept. That's
all my Christmas
run away. Yeah. Buying some sports cards on layaway.
Yeah, now that it's pretty funny.
Joseph, so again, this is kind of falling into a similar territory. 2018 Topps New Era RCs at an SP. I'm guessing you're talking about the Otani, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's like a
one for one
subset.
Yeah, it's again a kind of just an exclusive set, a vendor exclusive set, and it's a cool shot. But it's probably not going to have the same sort of long-term value as a pack pulled.
I'll tell you this much. I think you can get one of those for $20.
Promo set. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, you can get one of those for $20, but his actual SP from the Series 1 or for Series 2 is going to run you about $400. So that just kind of tells you in general what the exclusivity and the desire is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thick Boys has got starting lineup figures at Kmart. Oh, 20 Relics worked at a super Kmart as loss prevention in 1995.
Big K, right? Was it? That was the
Big K. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, 1995. I wasn't in the hobby then. That was after I got out of the hobby, and before I got back in. I don't know how big cards were then. I know a lot of. Once you got past the junk era of the early 90s, cards was a more exclusive thing. But I wonder if 28 Relics. I'm sure he didn't witness anything like the crazy Pokemon, mad dashes that we've seen, or some of the.
I think that there was a little bit more. There was a stricter law for stealing back then than there is now. People, just
cut off your hands.
Yeah, literally. I mean, they would now I have to go into my local CVS, and it's like every time I'm in there, somebody just leaves with a shopping cart full of stuff, and nothing ever happens.
Oh man, I know. I was at our grocery store the other day, and just all of a sudden I saw two kids go flying by with backpacks out of the liquor section, right out the door, and I'm like, oh, there goes my apple cost, another 2 cents a pound.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Oh, sucks for us.
SD Pliskin used to go to a card shop that had layaway. I put the 1984 Fleer update set on and paid $50 a week. That is awesome.
For a nice Donnie Baseball rookie?
No, the update set. So he was in regular Fleer.
Oh wow.
So 84 Fleer update. Chris got one of these sets recently. That is some really rare stuff in.
Oh really?
Pete Rose, Expos card. I think that might have been Dwight Gooden, Clemens. Couple appearances for them. Yeah, that 84 Fleer update. I hope you still have it. Yes. Clemens, Puckett, and Gooden. Do you still have that, SD Pliskin? That's a great story. That's awesome.
That is awesome. I also love that your profile picture is Escape New York.
Escape from that's Snake Pliskin, right? Pliskin. Kirby Puck XRC. Yes, they became known as the XRC, like the pre-rookie kind of cards.
My mom was one of them. Oh yeah, Toys R Us was, boy, if
For
only
Cabbage Patch Kids. Yeah, I remember my sister getting a Cabbage Patch Kid, and I was so caught up, and I was like, "What is this Cabbage?" I think I was 5 maybe, and I really wanted one, and of course, like my parents went to all this trouble to get my sister one, and then for Christmas I got one, except it was like a knockoff. It was a knockoff Cabbage Patch Kid. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a, I don't know, a lettuce kid or something like that.
We know who the favorite child is. That's for sure. The lettuce kid. A chia pet on a card.
Yeah, exactly. John, another LCS that had layaway. Man, nice. Joe Montana rookie, $200. Shout out to Mr. Paul at Bases Loaded.
It's funny that the prices haven't really changed that much from
kind of shop. Yeah.
Those were I used to when I first real introduction to the hobby was 1999 Topps. I'm from Syracuse, New York. So Donovan McNabb, I used to collect football cards back then.
Oh yeah.
So Donovan McNabb was a rookie in 99, but there was also in previous years Marvin Harrison and Dwight Freeney, but in like Ricky Williams and what have you. But every time I go into a card shop, the first thing you go and look for is those John Elway, the Dan Marino. And I still see those cards in card shops these days. And I still get excited because it was like those were the unattainable cards. Even the Steve Young, the 86 Topps Steve Young, those were the one day.
It's such a visceral feeling. I know exactly what you mean. I don't have that with football, but with baseball I have it. Like at the shop, I went to Burbank and they had a 84 Donruss Mattingly, and I was like, looking at it gives you
you're like,
oh, as a kid, that was like, as Chris always describes it, it's about 2 inches of lucite or whatever plastic those are stuck in.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I did manage to get an 81 Montana.
You did?
Like it was like, I don't know. It was like I think it was my uncle's maybe. And it was sat in a screw down until it sat in like one of those like quad screw downs.
Yes.
Like one of those big ones.
Oh, it's got to be big. Yeah.
And in 2020, I unearthed it from my mom's. It was the only thing I had kept in my mom's like fireproof lockbox. Passports and things like that.
Right.
I just kept my Joe Montana rookie card in there. I found it, and it was the first card I ever graded. And it took a year, and I think it took like 2 years to get it back. That was when the PSA thing happened.
Yeah.
But
you still have it?
I still have it. It's a PSA 7.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's like such a piece of history. It's really funny, that feeling exactly like you talk about.
Yeah, and it's funny the way that we would keep them. I know you mentioned so it was in a lockbox.
Yeah.
Just like we found out now with PSA cards, it's of no use to keep them in a vault if you have a fire, because even if they're the plastic just melts melts away. But oh man, some of the I kept some of my good cards.
It was in a Ziploc bag too. I was like,
I did that too. I had like the case in the bag. No, you can't even touch the case. Mine was like a Frank Thomas Stadium Club, and it was in the slab, screwed down inside a case. So to show my friends, no fingerprints even.
Yeah,
keep the fingerprints off there.
Yeah, and I remember I was just obsessed with like running or starting a card shop. So I used to price all my. I'm sure everybody did this, but you used to go through your cards and just. Every time I was like at my dad's house, I just reprice them the next weekend. Like it was. Just yeah.
Right, because the new Beckett would come out, and you're like, all right,
exactly.
What's going on?
And so that was
during the season.
My first in collecting. And then 2004, when the Giants drafted Eli Manning, that's when I got really, really into football cards again. And some baseball, but mostly football. But that was also, speaking of Kmart, that was a time when you could go to your local, I think it was called Eckerd, or back then, what's Rite Aid now. But you could go there and buy packs of 2004 Topps. Unfortunately, I never pulled anything good, but yeah, just good memories. And then back in 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about because in the junk era, packs were everywhere, gas stations, liquor stores, and they've always be right on the counter. And you could buy 50 cents or whatever the pack were. Even when Upper Deck came, it was a premium, it was like $1.50 or $1.25.
Right.
And now, is for as many cards as we see, you still don't have that. Like, you go to Target and you can see boxes, but they don't have packs you can just buy at the register. Because if they did, they'd be like $8 for a tiny pack. And people would be like, what the hell?
Like, nobody would ever buy that.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do it at like 7-Eleven. I don't know if they still are selling loose packs at like 7. I can't imagine.
Really?
Those would be the first ones to be stolen of any.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there was some sort of Topps or Fanatics initiative to sell. Yeah. But it is, it's so crazy to think back. I mean, and then when you see these people post about it's, obviously back in 2004, I wish I was buying basketball.
Right.
You know, and like you could buy those Upper Deck packs for like $1 or $2, and there are LeBrons in there. And now those LeBrons are like, my Eli Manning's worth 50 cents, and the LeBrons are worth $8,000. So it's like,
right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. SFO Sox fan, 83 Boggs and Gwyn. Yeah. Oh, Jay, you've got the complete set.
Wow.
Cards came in smaller cell packs. Yep. I never opened them. Mattingly certainly off center. Yeah. Donruss in the 80s came in chunks of cards. They'd come in the box in the set in order, but they'd be in little chunks of cellophane packs. So yeah, then you'd open them up and you'd see how off-centered things were.
Yeah.
I never had the 84. The first Donruss set that I got was 87, and I put that immediately into a binder, of course.
Yeah. Well, Chris, dude, at Chris's house, he's got like 20 binders of like every year from 85 to like 96 or I don't know what it is, but it's really good. It's so great to just look through those and just flip the pages and see them. It's just so fun still.
Yeah. Last time I was at my parents' place, I just was looking through the binders, and I'd have like a whole page of Devon White, 87 top. Just the things we'd collect, but good times.
Yeah.
This brings to mind the one decent move I made at an LCS. When all local dealers were paying $5 for Mike Greenwell, even though it booked for $250, thinking it was the next best thing. Yes, I sold all my Mike Greenwells through the shop, and I'm sure I just bought packs with whatever money I got. But you're right, the Greenwell, that was the big thing. He was the next big thing. Next to
do they still sell Beckett? I think they still do like maybe an annual one, Beckett magazines.
Do they?
I feel like I saw one at Burbank the last time I was there. But it's like $50 or something because it's like a annual one. I don't know, but that would be really cool if they did still sell Beckett magazines.
Yeah, just looking back at some of the Beckett's that I found when I was at home, and Chris found one when he was at home, and just seeing the prices and the hot and cold, it was crazy.
Yeah, that would be something. Honestly, after this, I'm probably gonna go on eBay and look and see if I can find any from back in like 99 or 2004, back when I used to have like Ricky Williams on the cover.
Yeah, those covers, those were pretty cool. A Plumberman's uncle worked at the printing company that printed Beckett. I have 100 uncut sheets of covers from them. That's awesome.
That's so awesome. Cool. That is so cool. You get that framed. That's like amazing.
Oh, get those framed. Yes, send us some pictures on Instagram. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be really
I'm sure that a lot of people that collected in that time would love to see those too. So if you can find us on IG, send a couple pictures of those out.
Yeah, I love those uncut sheets. Are so cool to see. Like a piece of
really cool.
PSA offices like have a few really cool like rare uncut sheets. It's just like it's so cool to see.
Yeah, I had one uncut sheet, but it wasn't a sheet. It was just a column. So it was about like 3 feet long. It was Brewers from 1989 Fleer, and it was just all the Brewers.
All the Brewers team set.
I don't know if they did team sets by printing them in columns or something at that time, but that was the only. I love those uncut. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Joey says they still sell them. Jackson Holiday was on the last cover of Beckett.
Oh my goodness.
Los Bravos had several recent Acuna covers.
What? I do like the PSA covers. Obviously, my background is all the PSA covers, but they do some really cool artwork.
Yes.
And the Shohei one was cool. The Decoy SSP cover. I think it's like selling for like $500, but that's.
Is it really?
It's a cover of a dog. Love it.
John, this is a great story. Uncle bet me on a roll, get a 94 box of Topps Finest. First pack pulled Griffey Jr. Refractor instantly in top loader, then a one-touch. Cherish it. I can't grade it.
That's a big card. Isn't that the first year of refractors? I think that's a pretty big card still, I think.
94?
94.
Yeah, I'm glad you still have it. That's really cool. I'm here with you. I had a Lee Frank Thomas in a very thick plastic screw-down case. Yeah, that was great. I thought I was going to be able to retire on that.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah. Still holding out a little hope. All right. Well, we're getting a little bit long. I see the sun is almost set behind you.
Yeah, it's getting dark
Jake.
here. But nonetheless, still love talking cards, sitting outside, and can't really
93, Michael Stone says, was the first year
I
refractor.
should
right
have
there.
known that, given all of these 93 Finest prototype refractors.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting with us.
Yeah.
I believe, I'm not looking at my calendar, but I believe next week is SSP Thursday. It's got to be the first Thursday of June, right?
Yep, that's the first Thursday.
So everybody get those SSPs ready.
It's a holiday. Take the day off. Spend it all on your phone.
Scroll on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, it's worth opening an account, a free account, just to follow people, follow the hashtag.
That's how we all started. That's how we all started.
Yeah, it's amazing the people that you can find on there, and then the people that you can meet. That's how we met Jake.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, if you're not on there and it seems a little overwhelming, it might be at the beginning, but just find some card accounts and follow them, and it's a pretty good way to see cards that you never get to see or rarely get to see. So.
And it's awesome.
So yes, thank you to Jake for joining me. Chris, enjoy the Braves games this weekend. I hope you get to see some Acuna home runs.
Yeah, that would be awesome. He's really only there for Alex Verdugo, though. I know it.
Yeah, I think he was disappointed that Kelenic got sent down, so he can't see him. I was going to send him with a stack of cards to get autographed by Kelenic, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay Marble. Thanks, John. Yeah, I'm not sure how we got back into those early LCS days, but it is always fun talking about that. So much appreciated. Yes, please hit the like and subscribe. Chris and I have been trying to get up some more content.
I noticed you guys have 4,000 subscribers.
Almost there. We're almost there. Yes.
That's incredible.
Subscribe, please do so. Yeah.
So much harder to get. I feel like it's so much harder to get subscribers on YouTube than it is to get followers on Instagram. So that's like a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it is. I think there's just less people that are on YouTube or open accounts because you have to have an account in order to follow people. So we appreciate everybody that does. I'm glad my socks are helping your teams. Yes, Stick Boy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Brewers. They're starting to trend upwards. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this is the year for a Brewers-Yankees World Series.
Oh boy, Nestor Cortez pitching Game 1. It's gonna be BP again.
No, he's gonna shut you guys down.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Guys.
Remember to call your parents. Thanks for showing us your pets. Thanks for showing us Leroy.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure. He loves the attention. Bye, guys.
Come and find us on Instagram, and we'll see you for SSP next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.